King's Cross Station in London.
I know it's mission impossible, but can you find out where we are with guards and drivers?
One of Britain's biggest transport hubs.
It's a logistical nightmare.
All passengers must leave the station immediately.
I do suspect she is going into shock.
And the gateway to the north along the East Coast Main Line. 400 miles of high-speed track stretching from the capital through the northeast and into Scotland. The task of keeping this vital part of the rail network up and running
Network Rail Control, York emergency phone.
falls to a small army of railway men and women working behind the scenes
It's like playing with a huge big train set.
and around the clock to keep the trains on time and us, the travelling public, on track.
Yeah, I think somebody's done a wee. Platform 9.
And on top of that, this year they're under pressure to complete one of the biggest investments in the railway since Victorian times.
We've got passengers stuck in a lift on number 6 and 7.
All aboard for the ups and downs
Yes, down.
of life on the railway. This week at King's Cross.
You want me off the train?
Station staff deal with the exodus for the year's biggest holiday.
You okay there, sir? You're stuck. Where you going, on a cruise?
A passenger needs a course in anger management.
Virgin dreams
I'd rather you didn't touch
Can't tell me. Oh, I'd rather you weren't here.
And during the Christmas break, it's a battle with the elements.
It's 27 miles an hour.
And time
Thank God for that.
to complete one of the most ambitious holiday work programmes ever attempted.
We couldn't have our first-class passengers spilling their teas and coffees from their fine china cups.
King's Cross, one of Britain's oldest and busiest stations, with over 200,000 customers passing through every day. And this week, it's busier than usual.
Christmas is busy. There's no other time like it on the station.
It's the start of the Great Escape, when hundreds of thousands of passengers start to head home for the festive season.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
But this year, there's even more pressure on the men and women who keep the railway running. Once the network winds down for the holiday, Network Rail will have a window of just 2.5 days to complete an ambitious maintenance programme, with more than 200 works being carried out across the country. But before any work can start, King's Cross staff still need to get passengers home. In the control room, dispatcher Ian and information controller Lindsay are coordinating the Great Getaway for Virgin Trains. And at this time of year, passengers never cease to amaze them.
Luggage is a big thing. People bring tons and tons of luggage.
People travel like they're moving houses.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is absolutely insane.
You okay there, sir? I just see you. You're stuck. Where you going, on a cruise? That's a lot of luggage.
On customer service duty today
Hello, madam.
is Lenny.
What time are you travelling, darling?
Lenny's had a varied career, but he's in his element working at King's Cross.
I love people. Good, bad and indifferent. Love them all. But the thing is, some people are, very interesting. You meet all walks of life, and it makes the day go quicker. I've always been in the people frontline job. I was a chef, and then I became an agent selling new build properties, and then I moved into this.
This is information for passengers intending to travel on the 1700.
In the control room, Station Control Assistant Andrew has been the eyes, ears and voice of King's Cross for the past 4 years.
It varies from day to day. At the moment, everything's running as it should be. Obviously, that can change at a minute's notice, can't it? Make our life a bit more interesting, shall we say.
And for Lenny on the platforms, life is indeed about to get more interesting. He's waiting for a passenger who needs assistance boarding the 4 o'clock service to Aberdeen.
If they're not here by the time the train goes, obviously, for whatever reason, we'll inform control and let them know.
2 minutes before departure, the passenger arrives.
Oh, you're just about make it, sir. You're in this one here. You have to get your ramp. Can you get out the chair or you need to go on with it?
You don't need a ramp.
Oh, we won't get a ramp in time. That one can't use that one. Can't get the ramp down in time, sir.
Under health and safety rules, a ramp is essential when assisting a wheelchair user onto or off a train. But the passenger decides to take matters into his own hands.
Goodness. Okay, sir.
Lenny can't physically stop the man, who thankfully knows his abilities better than anyone.
There you go, madam. All right, then, sir. Thank you very much. Let me get myself away. Unconventional. Totally unexpected. Obviously, the man decided to do what he did. And we're away.
Platform 8, Government 1713, Great Northern, service to Peterborough.
In the King's Cross Travel Centre,
What can I do for you?
Rick is also busy helping passengers.
I love Christmas. I love it. We've done about 16 of these now, and it's been busy most of the day. Well, I've seen a few jolly people out there today that have perhaps had a few beers and that, but it's nice to see everyone in good spirits. I'm probably one of the most jolly people in here. Every now and then I'll get the hump, but that's normally when I get home, but don't tell her I said that. Leave it.
Rick may be jolly, but he knows when to be serious.
It's not on the ledge here or anything, is it? No, it's not on the floor.
A passenger has mislaid his wallet.
Double-check all your pockets. I'll just go and make sure no one's handed it in or anything, all right? Anybody had a wallet handed in? No. Anyone had a wallet handed in? No, mate. No. Got it. Brilliant. Got it. Oh, lovely. I'll find him. He'll come back. Yeah, he said he'll come back.
That's number 13, please.
Christmas has come early for this passenger.
Some gentleman picked it up by mistake, he's brought it back. All right, buddy. All right, mate. And to you. Sorry about that, sir. The young man had lost his wallet.
200 miles north of King's Cross in York is The Rock, Network Rail's high-tech rail operating centre, which works around the clock to keep the East Coast Main Line running. And while The Rock makes every effort to avoid passenger delays, particularly at this time of year, there are some incidents which are difficult to predict and prevent.
Network Rail Control, York emergency phone. Suicidal female, threatening to throw stuff under a train. North Yorkshire Police, ETA, 3 minutes.
In York, at The Rock, the East Coast Main Line's rail operating centre, Route Control Manager Jerry is dealing with an incident. At an East Coast Main Line station, a woman is threatening to throw herself under a train.
If we get any more, we'll tell you. If you get any more, just give us an all clear, please.
With 27 years on the railway and 7 in the Rock control room, Jerry's experienced in dealing with complex incidents. But situations like this are particularly challenging.
It's generally an hour and a half to 2 hours for police process to take place and for us to get the railway back open. It can go one way or the other. It's either going to go really well or go really badly.
Thankfully, on this occasion, the police have saved the day in the nick of time.
Splendid. So, police have turned up, taken the individual away. If we've got more than 3 minutes delay in total, I'll be amazed. And most importantly, the person's not harmed themselves. So hopefully she's away getting the care she now needs.
Down at King's Cross, it's the final run-up to Christmas, and Virgin's information controller Simon is bracing himself for a hectic time ahead.
I think the next 3 days, we're hoping there's no disruption, otherwise it will get interested indeed.
It's 5 p.m, the start of the rush hour, and after 7 years working in the control room, Simon's used to the ups and downs of Londoners' daily commute.
If all goes to plan, it should be all right. The next lot of tight turnarounds are from 7 o'clock. Hopefully just watch the busy peak go by with no issues, hopefully. That's the plan.
Hello, King's Cross.
But as everyone in the control room knows, some issues are difficult to predict.
It looks like the whole train struck a person between Retford and Doncaster.
The incidents occurred just south of York, and even though it's not one of Virgin's trains involved, Virgin are the main operators on the line, and it's now down to Simon to manage the King's Cross rush hour.
So at the minute, it's what we call the job stop. There's no trains either way through that area. So we're looking at least another hour, an hour and a half, depending how bad it is down there.
It's nearly 5:30 p.m, and with rush hour and the Christmas getaway ramping up, the job stop is going to test everyone's resilience.
Your attention please, this is information for passengers using King's Cross Station this evening. We've got to inform you that due to a person struck by a train... I'm a commuter and I'm a passenger, and I think people are happier knowing that something is being done. If you're not telling them anything, as far as they're concerned, well, you're not worried about it, you're not doing anything. How would I feel if it was me?
Do you ever complain?
No. Perhaps because I know what goes on behind the scenes. You know.
When there's a critical situation like this, other train operators at King's Cross will often agree to take each other's passengers.
If you could slide that in.
So barriers are open to deal with the flood of rerouted travellers.
Milton, would you open up, please? All the barriers are open, please walk straight through.
Station support assistant Sophie, who stepped in to help in the control room, feels nothing but sympathy for her colleagues down on the concourse.
At least they've got ticket acceptance in quite quickly. I'm just glad I'm up here and not downstairs, to be honest. How do I get here? How do I get there? I need to get here, I need to be home, I've got this, I need this to get home to. People don't seem to understand that it's a person that's been struck by a train. It can get quite stressful.
Station support assistant Charles is trying to keep stress at bay.
Is there any chance that the train's going to run tonight to Edinburgh from here?
Yes, they should do.
They will run the train from here?
They will. I can't 100% guarantee it.
Charles's colleague John, who's been at King's Cross for just 18 months, knows what passengers are going through.
There's a million and one inquiries and questions. Well, I say a million questions, usually the same. People want to know how they're going to get home, but we all do our best to pull together. All you can do is try to keep people informed, regular, up-to-date, accurate information.
Yeah, I'm out of earshot, mate. Have we got any sort of rough idea when we might start rolling out?
No, not John, unfortunately not. Nothing yet.
It's 6 p.m, 40 minutes since the East Coast line was closed. And with so many people still waiting to travel out of King's Cross, Simon has no choice but to advise passengers to start their journeys from other London stations.
Yeah, I've just been told we are sending everybody elsewhere, so I'm just going to alter that now. OK then, mate? All right, thanks very much. Bye-bye. Have your attention, please. This is information for passengers using King's Cross Station this evening. Passengers are advised to travel on alternative routes.
At least passengers are on the move, although with the diversions, it could add hours to their journeys.
Go to Carlisle.
How are you?
Yeah. Change over to go to Newcastle, and then from Newcastle go down.
The thing is, when we have disruption like this, it's very much like a game of let me cast you stick or twist. Customers tonight now going to Newcastle, they could have gone to Euston and gone Virgin West Coast, but that's the sizable disruption, you know, to your journey, possibly about another 4 hours or so. You know, going by another route may not be the right option. Maybe half an hour later here, their train's left, which would have been much better for them. And you've just got to make a decision as to what you think you're going to do.
Up at York Station, the halfway point on the East Coast Main Line, staff and passengers are feeling the effects of the Fatality too, but in reverse. Trains are backing up, waiting to go south to King's Cross. And station manager Tom is also having to deal with trains still coming down from the north.
We've got a train on platform 11. We're rushing to so we can tell the train to stop. Fatalities are the worst thing we can have, really, because you're probably talking a couple of thousand passengers will have been disrupted. We'll get to a point where we'll run out of trains in London to be able to bring passengers back from London north, so we have a few delays.
But as York is a key junction on the rail network, it's possible to reroute some trains to ease up the backlog in the station.
So what this train is going to do is going to divert around the area, and given the diversion route it's got to take. Yeah, it's going to be potentially pretty severely delayed. Easily maybe even push to 2 hours actually late getting into the cross. Yeah, it's going to be a long wait. See you later, Mr. Wright.
Back down at King's Cross, information controller Simon is in contact with the Rock in York, and he's pulling out all the stops.
Just so you know, we're pumping people out where we can.
But cancellations are coming in thick and fast.
Does that mean that 1730, the 1800 and the 1803 are effectively cancelled from here? All right. OK, thanks, Tom. Everything cancelled.
The 1730 to Edinburgh is one of the first to be cancelled. Train dispatcher Anna has moved everyone off the train and is taking the disruption in her stride.
Obviously not happy. Who will be happy about this? But it's a fatality. It's not something we can do, really.
10 minutes later, the Rock has an update on the trains they've just cancelled.
Yeah, I've just had York on. Initially, what they said that the 1800 and the 1730 were cancelled is false. They are going to run and they can run, and all clear's been given for them to run.
Now Virgin staff have to swap everything around, which means dispatcher Anna has to quickly reinstate the 1730 service she cleared of passengers just minutes earlier. Anna now has a problem on her hands. In fact, two problems.
Right. I have no catering crew and I have no passengers at all.
1730, not nobody on it. Do they understand that everybody's got off the 1730?
Hello.
So everything's out of position. It's a logistical nightmare.
And the last-minute changes have meant there's no guard or driver for the next delayed service.
This is why we've lost our crew for the 1803, Simon. They've all buggered off.
Simon has to conjure up vital staff to get the trains out.
Hi Andy, Simon at the cross. Hiya. We're looking for driver and guard for 1.26.
Down on the platforms, train dispatcher Alan, who's been working at King's Cross for 37 years, is doing his best to get things moving.
We're still waiting for signal on 0.
I'm a bit stressed. Some train crew went to the wrong train, so one train's cancelled, but we've got a replacement.
Oh, come on, this is getting silly now.
But Alan can't get the train off until he's been given the go-ahead from the signal box, and they're still coping with an ever-changing train schedule.
Well, we should have got the signal about 15 minutes ago, but because of the delays... All right, here we go. Stand clear, please!
It's 2 hours since the fatal incident near Doncaster. And although the emergency services are still at the scene, some trains have been given the go-ahead to travel north, but slowly.
And the next one.
It's now 7:20. The line should theoretically be open. There may well be a queue up there, but it should be clear by the time it gets there.
Many passengers are still opting for alternative routes. And on the information desk, Andy is Virgin's secret weapon and the font of all knowledge.
Where are you travelling to?
Leeds, then.
Yeah, I catch a 1930 and change at Doncaster. My best advice is catch a 1930 Newcastle service and change at Doncaster. I've kind of seen most of these things before in my railway career, to be honest. You kind of go into autopilot sometimes. My geographical knowledge is pretty good on the route as well, so I know where people need to change, where the best place to get seats, things like that.
We're not going to get a seat on that, are we?
But my best advice is go to the middle of the... When the train's boarding, go to the middle of the train, coach H in the middle. Go down here, left through the gates.
Thank you.
Up at York, trains which haven't been diverted are still being kept at the station. Unlike King's Cross, York is just 60 miles away from the incident, so it's too close and too soon to let trains start running.
1 Alpha 69 bound for London. What's the plan with that? Is it just going to sit and wait?
Just a negative. No plans for anything at the moment. Yeah, so we're still a bit in the dark at the moment.
The train company involved has been able to get a relief driver, or he's at least on his way to the train. He's going to be there for about 7:30. So about 8 o'clock is when they're saying the line will be handed back. So that means like the police will be clear, like the undertakers, they will have gone away from site as well. And then hopefully then we can start resuming the service.
As services slowly resume in York, down at King's Cross, staff are still trying to find new crew for the delayed trains.
I know it's mission impossible, but can you find out where we are with guards and drivers for the rest of the evening?
Right, OK.
We know we've got people for this train, but I've got 2 trains over there. No guard, no driver, so they won't be going anywhere at the moment, basically.
King's Cross Station welcomes over 30 million passengers a year, and we'd like you to be one of them. We'll send you and a friend to London, staying right on the doorstep at the St Pancras Renaissance Hotel, in a superior king room with breakfast for 3 nights. There you can relax after your travels in the hotel pool and enjoy dinner in the booking office restaurant. You'll have a London travel card to make the most of central London, avoiding rush hour, of course. Plus, we'll include a King's Cross walking tour, so you can look out for familiar faces from the series as you explore the area. So, for your chance to win, text RAIL to 65515 or call 0904 161 0555 or post your name and phone number to RAIL, PO Box 7557, Derby, DE1 0NP. Text costs £1.50 plus 1 message at standard network rate. Calls cost £1.50 plus your network access charge. Lines close at midday on the date shown on the screen and 3 working days later for postal entries. For rules, go to channel5.com/win. Good luck. At York Station, backlogged trains have been sitting on platforms for 3 hours after someone was hit by a train on the East Coast Main Line. But finally, station manager Tom has some welcome news.
We're able to reopen the line towards London, so that's why that train is able to leave. The line, that's still blocked because the train is still physically there, so we're just waiting for a driver to turn up and move that. And then once that's happened, yeah, we're going to be good to go. There'll still be delays for the rest of the day, probably into the night, just while the trains are in different places and the crews are different. But for us here at York now, you know, we've got a lot of people moved. People have got where they needed to be.
But down in London, they're still in the eye of the storm.
Yeah, lines are reopened at 8 o'clock. We've got heavy delays coming in, 80, 70, 120 late.
I think the biggest problem for people in there is that no one's telling them anything. If someone just says, we're waiting for a crew to come in, then they'll be all right. But at the moment, they think it's the Mare Celeste.
With trains being rescheduled at the last minute, it's difficult to keep tabs on what services are leaving from which platform. For train dispatcher Alan, who's dealt with hundreds of disruptions in his 37 years at King's Cross, this has been a testing day.
I get just as frustrated as the customers out there, you know, lack of information. But, you know, when you have a fatality like that, you can't measure for it because it's horrible and it just happens and we just have to deal with it.
It feels like a whirlwind. I feel like I've been through a wind tunnel and I've just come out the other side. But, yeah, still there. There's still a few more days to go yet.
Christmas Eve has arrived at King's Cross. The station will close early tonight. And while staff are looking forward to a few hard-earned days off, the pressure's still on for the final push to get passengers home for the holiday.
A lot of people finish work early as well, and so they can try and beat the rush and get up north or wherever they're going to.
Whereas actually everyone has the same idea and the trains are absolutely rammed.
Really busy.
Edinburgh luggage, please. Edinburgh luggage. Christmas Eve, with a good team, we have a good banter.
It's all right, it's calm.
I mean, it's calm, but when the pressure's on, you just have to get stuck in.
You get the pressure.
Yeah.
1900, quickly, it's about to go, first door.
With the last passengers on board, Virgin's information controller Michael can now breathe a sigh of relief.
That was the last train for the night. Obviously, I don't want anyone to miss their family for Christmas and Christmas dinner or the rest of it. It's quite important, so I'm willing to hold the train for at least an extra minute just to get them on and make sure. But there was no late runners. I think we're good.
But as the station is winding down, major engineering works are ramping up around the country. An ambitious programme of 200 projects costing £100 million to be completed over the holiday period. At King's Cross, it's 10:30 p.m.
Everybody have to come out.
And Amos from Network Rail can finally clear the station.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. So we are now finished everything. Now we just go patrol and check the corners. Then we are free. Merry Christmas to each and everyone. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
With everyone gone for their tinsel and turkey,
Oh, you're on the ball.
work is just beginning up and down the country as engineering teams gather to kick off one of the biggest ever holiday upgrades across the rail network. They now have 60 hours to complete the works before the Christmas window closes. At Neville Hill Train Maintenance Depot near Leeds, the countdown clock is ticking. Engineers plan to lay new track outside the depot so they can get trains in and out more efficiently. But before anyone has a chance to get the machinery started, Renewals manager Eldon gets some unwanted news.
Wakefield? Fuck yeah now.
12 miles down the line, an empty engineering train is sitting on the track waiting for a driver, and work can't start till the train is safely out of the way.
It's going to knock the whole Leeds station possession up. There's loads of work going off in there tonight.
With so much money and time invested in the upgrade, someone needs to be found straight away to move the train off the line.
You're off platform, right, OK.
After half an hour of intense phone calls, a driver's found.
Jimbo, we're on.
With the track clear, it's all systems go. But they're now 40 minutes behind schedule, so there's a lot of catching up to do. New track panels are brought in, but before they can be laid, the old track has to be removed.
Once the rail and the sleepers are out, we then send the dozer through and the digging machines to get rid of the old ballast.
With all noses to the grindstone, the maintenance crew soon makes up time prepping the track.
It was a bit touch and go in places, but yeah, it was a bit of a few moments. Thank God for that.
It's Christmas Day, and 95 miles north, one of the Northeast's most famous landmarks, the century-old King Edward VII Bridge across the River Tyne, is getting new wooden way beams to support the track. But wind speeds are threatening the whole project.
So we're about 19 miles an hour at the moment. 26.4. It does feel a lot more than that, doesn't it?
The winds are strong enough to buffet the bridge. If they get into the high 30s, they could pose dangers for Ben and his team.
27 miles an hour. Just checked it up there. So we're all right for now.
If they can't finish the work in the Christmas window, it may cause disruption further down the line.
There you go. We've got 29.1 now. The wind will catch the beams, it'll swing the beams about a bit, but that's why we try and only work when there's a bit less wind, but sometimes you just have to work with what you've got.
As the wind appears to have reached its maximum, they carry on laying the new beams.
It can get fiddling, it is a little bit time-consuming, but it needs to be right. One very large drawing with all the technical measurements and information you could ever need. Tells you where everything goes.
But even if you've followed the instructions, things can sometimes be a little off-kilter.
It's not at the correct height, so what we'll do now is they'll put it back in, they'll try it again, get it into position, and then he'll check the heights again with these clever box of tricks.
Do you think in the olden days they used to do this literally by tape measure and ruler and type thing?
It'll have been tape measure, ruler, a little less precise than it is now.
Often, the old-fashioned way is best.
It's all well and good having all the technical equipment, but there's nothing better than a tape measure just to double check. Because if it's not level, you end up with a bumpy ride. We couldn't have our first-class passengers spilling their teas and coffees from their fine china cups.
Oh.
Back at Neville Hill near Leeds, the clock is ticking, with now 40 hours left before the lines reopen. The old tracks and ballast have been removed and the new rails are now ready to be installed.
These track panels are essentially the guts of the junction of the switch and the crossing layout.
And now the new track has to be laid with utmost precision.
The railway's controlled ultimately by a signalling system, so the track's got to be in exactly the right place for it to work as a system.
Work continues through the night. And by early morning of the 27th, Renewals manager Eldon and his team are now just hours away from finishing the track work at the Neville Hill depot.
So all we're doing now is just finishing off welding. We've completed 66 welds. We've installed 2 modular crossovers over the last 54 hours.
To allow some trains to leave the depot for the post-holiday rush hour, one line has to be reopened. And it's now the final push to finish work before the Christmas window closes.
It's been very intense, the importance of getting these lines back on time, to not having a major impact on the passengers who rely on these to get to their destinations.
At the King Edward VII Bridge in Newcastle, the maintenance work is nearly complete. The rails are now sitting on their new way beams, and Chief Engineer Gary does some final checks before he can sign off the work, ready for the trains to start rolling again.
Transpennine 1, Golf 2-1 is due to leave at 9:10. If we're clear by then, that'll be the first one that'll run over it. Proof in the pudding is that the majority of people who use this won't understand anything's happened. The real objective, what we're looking for, that they'll come through here and they'll not notice any change.
It's been a hectic Christmas for everyone on the trains. And although things are back on track after the delays caused by the Fatality, inevitably the new year will bring other incidents. Across the network, there's a huge drive to bring down the number of suicides on the railway.
Do you mind if I just give you a leaflet, if that's all right?
Together with the Samaritans, rail staff are running new initiatives to raise awareness and train staff to spot the warning signs. Stuart from Network Rail's mobile operations team is often the first on the scene when there's a fatality.
I definitely have to say that it's one of the hardest parts of the job. Having to deal with the body. Having to do that and show dignity at the same time is a priority for us. My own particular thing at the end of it, when the body's been removed, I have a habit of just taking my helmet off. Some people say it's stupid, it's just me being human, I suppose, to show a bit of respect. The last time I didn't take my helmet off, and the silly thing is that was the thing that upset me for a few days after that I didn't do my usual routine, take my helmet off to show a bit of respect. I was that busy that I just forgot to do it, and thinking about it afterwards when I was at home, that was one thing that really prickled me at the back of the mind, and I was thinking about that for quite a while.
But sometimes it does all end well.
A few times we've been at situations where somebody has been suicidal and we've managed to stop them. One particular time, I got a thank you letter from a member of the family that was concerned. That was a very good day. That was a high day, that was. The ultimate goal is to have no suicides whatsoever, but you can't always be there, unfortunately.
You still have a chance to win this 3-night getaway for 2 to the home of this series, London. You'll stay in a superior king room at the St Pancras Renaissance Hotel, with breakfast, a dinner and a walking tour of King's Cross. To enter, text RAIL to 65515 or call 0904 161 0555 or post your name and phone number to RAIL, PO Box 7557, Derby, DE1 0NP. For rules, go to channel5.com/win. With the Christmas exodus, major disruption and extensive maintenance works now a fading memory, the railway can breathe again. And on the Transpennine Express, one of the regional railways, train guard Matt is easing his way back into his shift on the 15:15 service to Middlesbrough.
This one hopefully will be nice and quiet. You do have to be physically fit, even if I'm festively plump as we speak. Ladies and gents, a very good afternoon to you. This is your train guard speaking. Welcome to those of you joining at York. This is your 15:15 Transpennine Express service for Middlesbrough. I mean, this is the best office view in the world. Good afternoon. Can I see all tickets, all passes, please? Thank you.
Matt's been working on the trains for 6 years, and he's proudly carrying on a family tradition.
This is actually my great-granddad's whistle. He was a station master for the northeastern region of British Railways, and it's actually engraved BR Northeastern on the side of it.
But a lot's changed since great-granddad's day. These days, working on the trains is far more challenging, especially when school's out.
This is the fun stop coming up to now, yeah. It's all good. We'll see. There's more of them than I remember.
Say hi to the camera!
Look at them, the little cherubs. Aren't they little darlings?
Matt's had more than his fair share of boisterous school children on his train, and he knows every one of their tricks.
Now, you see, a lot of them will now walk to the other end of the train. It's a bit like a game of cat and mouse we have going on a daily basis. Hey, lads, tickets from Yarm, please. Thanks, buddy. There you go, bud. Thanks, now. Right, pal. Thank you. Hey, bud, you had some money in your hand, didn't you?
Yeah.
165, please, my friend. Thank you very much. There you go, my friend. Very good.
For once, though, they've been on their best behaviour.
See you tomorrow. Very pleasant. But it's just been Christmas, probably showered with gifts.
On a cramped network, though, these passenger services also share track with a vital and complex freight service. And few freight deliveries are as important as those which help fuel power stations, like Drax in North Yorkshire, which generates 7% of the UK's electricity. Today, GB rail freight driver Graham is delivering a cargo of biomass fuel that he's picked up at the port of Tyne.
Should be there roughly about 4 hours from now.
Every day, some 650 freight trains crisscross the rail network.
This one is probably about 1,300 feet in length, just over 2,000 tonnes in total. Maximum speed loaded we can get up to is 60 miles an hour, depending on the gradients and bridges. It's all about momentum driving your train to try and keep your speed correct and not lose any time on the schedule.
And to avoid conflict with passenger services, freight is often delivered overnight.
The shifts are probably the hardest thing. My father used to be on the railway as well, and that's one of the things when he found out I was going to become a train driver, he actually said to me, the work you'll be able to do, but the shifts will be the thing that'll take the longest time to get used to. And he was, as he usually is, he was actually really spot on with that. But the job itself is a really good job. Yeah, we're just pulling into Drax now. So that's the biomass silos that you can see ahead.
It's a 24/7 operation that sees 17 trains a day deliver the wood biomass pellets that fuel Drax's 6 turbines.
It gets emptied and take it back to the port of Tyne and start all over again later on this evening with another driver, another set.
Back at King's Cross, the pace is just as relentless.
It's building up, you know, more and more. Hello, how can I help? So best thing would be to go up there, stay there. When it starts boarding, run for your train. Platform 1, when it's ready, it's going to be that Edinburgh one.
I know you're going to be mental today, whoever is available. It's going to be mayhem.
Katrina from Customer Services has her hands full. The holiday getaway is now being played out in reverse.
A really busy day. We've got a huge amount of customers coming through, going back home. They've had a great time with their families. They've all got their Christmas presents with them, so lots more baggage.
Up in the control room, Information Controller Michael and Station Support Assistant Lee are coordinating the post-Christmas rush.
The reality is that the passengers are human and so are the staff. They're not always perfect. You get passengers that on a bad day come and they're in a bit of a foul mood and they may be rude, demanding, and they clash.
And Lee's about to experience it firsthand.
Hello. Where's your train to London?
No, where's my train to Peterborough?
What time are you travelling?
I see on the board round there, yeah? It said platform on time.
Yes, the platform comes out when it's ready to board.
Platform on time. That's all it kept saying.
Well, the train's board 20 minutes beforehand, so your train won't board until 15:15.
So which platform is it?
Well, the platform isn't ready just yet.
time.
Yes, as soon as it is ready, 15:15.
What don't you know? This is a multi-platform hub of London travel, yeah? This is people coming from the north, going home back to the north.
Yep.
Where are they going to travel from? You ain't telling me. You're telling me on time.
Yeah, and it
ain't on time.
Well, it is.
It ain't. Yeah, it might be on time when it leaves here, but I don't know where it's leaving from.
Well, no, because the train boards...
what's that? Where is it leaving from?
The man decides to test Lee's tolerance even further.
Tell me where it's from while I smoke this joint.
Well, you can't smoke that in here.
I'll smoke where I like.
And then he goes one step too far.
You're bored here. Don't tell me what platform a poxy fucking train's leaving from. And you, a virgin
Sir,
dreams or whatever.
I'd rather you didn't touch me.
Can't tell me. Oh, I'd rather you weren't here, because you're useless.
OK, that's fine. So you're going to get on the train now?
Which train?
This is the 9:35. There is still cleaners on board the service.
Why did you not tell me this is a 9:35?
Because we have to let it get clean first.
You have to let it get clean because it's secret information. What are you, fucking MFI
because if
or
I tell...
MI5? Go
Listen,
fuck
sir,
yourself.
You're not travelling.
Lee's had enough and reaches out for the long arm of the law.
Do you mind getting the BTP for me, please? Yeah? Thank you. Sir.
The railway has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to verbal abuse and aggressive behaviour against its staff. So how will the man react when the British Transport Police get on board?
Can I have a chat with you on the platform?
No. We're all right here. This is public
I've been
property.
informed that the guard doesn't want you to travel.
He's not
willing.
I've not been rude to
for you to travel.
I've not been rude to him.
I'm going to ask you once
fuck
more.
Virgin, then and fuck you and all. Now I'm getting out of it.
Right,
Get out. That's enough already.
You're under arrest, mate. You're
You want me off the train?
Yeah,
I'm getting
you're getting off the train.
Mr. Branston, this is what they do here. If you call somebody a dick on your trains, this is what they do here.
And now, the very unhappy customer isn't heading home, but heading to the cop shop, where he'll be given a penalty notice for disorder. It's been a challenging holiday season for staff at King's Cross.
King's Cross, as you've seen, it's a very busy station. There's a lot going on. The noise, the hustle and bustle.
But with passenger numbers at a record high, it's all about how you treat people.
Have you noticed that when you start smiling at people, they just calm down instantly?
Yeah, sometimes I have that charm.
And the railway men and women who look after one of Britain's most important transport hubs are up for the challenge.
You've got to do the job the way it needs to be done, because you can't afford to do it wrong.
If I was a stranger in a strange land, I'd like to meet someone that actually helped me if I needed help. And I like to think that I'm that person if anyone came into King's Cross.
And if you or someone you know has been affected by any of the issues raised in tonight's programme, go to channel5.com/therailway for information and support.